Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode. I like showing a little white, Zach. Otherwise, I look like if I do this, it's like sprockets. There we go. Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 1223. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. It's trash day. Trash is out at the curb. Only gone a couple weeks, but I completely forget how to do things like taking out the trash or what week it is. Is it recycle week? I ask my wife. I went outside last night to take the trash to the curb and none of my neighbors had their trash out yet. And I'm like, fuck, is it really trash day? Like what? I mean, what's going on here? I opened the garage door, took the can out to the driveway, didn't see any neighbors with trash at the curb. So I go into the house and I said, is it trash day? My wife's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. None of the neighbors have their trash out yet. So I was a little concerned. And then I'm like, is it recycle week too? And she's like, I don't know. I'll have to look. But it wasn't. So she's like, I did see some trash cans down the street when I drove home. So I'm like, okay. So I took the trash to the curb. And I did see a few houses down. I saw some trash cans out on the curb. So it is trash day. Happy Wednesday. Hey, Madison Card Show Saturday. This Saturday, where are we at? July 20th. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. We are booked. 200 dealer tables, 4 rooms, free admission. Show hours are 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., but early birds are welcome. I do tell dealers, get there early because we have customers walking the floor as early as 7:30. And since there are 200 tables, I think it's kind of important for some people just to get around the entire show, to get there a little early. So although it does, some dealers set up. I've got some dealers that come as early as 6:15 to set up. I say 7 o'clock, but I'm usually there at 5:30. So some dealers show up at 9:30. And I'm like, you're going to lose money if you show up at 9:30. And it's going to be a pain in the ass to start setting up 30 minutes into the show. So this Saturday, 200 tables. This is testing me because I opened the 4th room. I will lose money on the 4th room. I did the math yesterday. Gonna lose money on the 4th room, but I thought it's gonna be fun. Now, obviously, I'm not doing this for the fun of it. I kind of did start it that way, but then it became a revenue generator. It's like it's part of my business now. I wasn't in business when I started the Madison Card Show. So yes, I do have to make money. It's a lot of work also. Just emails back and forth, texting, promoting, printing signage. And then Friday and Saturday are pretty much, Friday is pretty much all for setup. And then obviously the show is on Saturday. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. So this 4th room is kind of an experimental basis. Will there be demand in future months? I'll put all of the expenses, all of the signage expenses onto this month's bill, so it'll show a loss. If I do choose to do a 4th room in August, I might make a slim margin. Is it worth the hassle? We'll see. I don't know what type of hassle it will bring this week. We'll find out on Saturday. So come out and see us in Madison, Wisconsin on Saturday. Yesterday, I think I picked some gunk up at the airport or flying because I don't feel sick. It could be just jet lag, I guess. It's just like fatigue, tiredness. My wife actually took a COVID test yesterday because she's like, I'm tired and I've got like drainage. So it could be allergy. So she did test negative, thankfully. Airplanes and airports have germs, lots of germs. So I think I picked up some crud And but I don't feel like I have energy for the most part until like 8 o'clock, and then I'm just like dead. But I think I'm still dealing with jet lag, which I haven't dealt with this amount of jet lag in my previous travels, but we also flew at different times. Where and this was, we flew at like what I thought would be the perfect time for an international flight. So we flew in the morning, late morning, out of Chicago to Newark, flew out of Newark in the afternoon. So by the time we landed in Switzerland, it was, say, 2 a.m. our time. So it was basically like just staying up really late, which I don't normally do, but it's a lot different than taking a red eye and not being, because I can't sleep on a plane. I don't like taking sleeping meds. I don't like that on a plane. Plus, if my wife takes them, one of us has to be coherent. It's I don't know if it should be me or not. So I don't want to wake up groggy in another country. So our previous trips, we took like later flights, so we were like flying in the overnight so we could sleep, and we discovered we just don't sleep no matter what time it is. So but this is having, I think, a longer impact on my routine and sleep schedule and my cycle, because it was all of a sudden, it was we landed at 3:45 local time Chicago, which would have been, I'm counting with my fingers, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10:45, which is reasonable, but we had to wait 2 hours to get the hell out of the airport, pick up our luggage. So that's 12:45, and then drive 2 hours. So it's now 2:45 by the time we even get home and unpack and everything. So by the time I like fell asleep, it's like 3:30 a.m. on what my schedule's on. And then I didn't sleep well Saturday night into Sunday. I didn't really sleep well Sunday night into Monday. And now I'm just like, at random times, it's like, oh my God, I'm dead tired. Oh, it's 10 o'clock in Europe. So I think I'm battling the jet lag. But hopefully, because I need to be like, actually today, speaking of the Madison Card Show, today is like when my prep, I've got to print more signage up for the show, posters, and I did find the foam boards. I did not go to Staples. I just ended up ordering them on Amazon. So I looked at staples.com. They only had like a set of 25, which I don't need 25. I only need like 5 to 10. And I didn't want to drive all the way to the other end of town. I didn't want to waste an hour of my time, and then they don't have any at the store. So I just ended up ordering them from Amazon. So the hour of time this week, now in a different week, I would have just wasted the hour, or maybe it would have paid off. But this week, that hour is more important than going to find the deal at Staples. So did order the foam boards on Amazon yesterday. So it was Prime Day. So I think I get my foam boards tomorrow. So there was a better deal, but it was like delivery not guaranteed by It's like, well, I need these Saturday. So got the ones that'll be delivered Thursday. Knowing my luck, there's going to be a delay because it was Prime Day and there's so many orders, it's going to be delayed, and I'm going to have to end up driving to Staples anyway, which by Friday, when I go to the Sheraton, the Staples is right there next to I think it's the next exit, actually, from John Nolan Drive, Monona, or I guess that would be Broadway. I can't remember. Yeah, because I think Staples is on Broadway in Monona. So yeah. So what else yesterday? Did a lot of shipping. I'm still digging into the Goodwill pallet. it's kind of an average. I think this is going to turn out to be an average palette, even though there was although I'm finding good stuff like the Derek Jeter 93 SP rookie. That's a pretty damn good card. There's a 92 Bowman Mariano Rivera. In fact, one of the boxes I went through last night was all 92 Bowman, including a stack of the gold foils. I'm like, this is a pretty good box. There were a couple Piazzas in there, a couple Chipper Jones. There was like 5 or 6 gold foil Barry Bonds. Those are only a couple bucks a piece, but it all adds up. So that box of 92 Bowman was really nice. There was a box of like autographs and like RPAs of like no name, like Brett Hundley. Remember him? He was a Packers, UCLA drafted by the Packers. He did start some games like 2017 or 18. There were like a few, 3 or 4 RPAs of Brett Hundley. A bunch of like autographs that may just fall into my dollar box. So we'll see. But that was a nice box. There was an entire box of like nothing but low-end autographs. And a lot of patch autos in there. So still digging through the Goodwill palette. A lot of junk wax. What else is in there? But I think the cool part about this particular Goodwill palette, there's a lot of junk wax, but it's like cool junk wax. Like there was a shoebox with like packs of cards. They were opened, but it was like 92, 93 Upper Deck basketball, 92, 93 Upper Deck McDonald's packs. There were some 96, 97 Upper Deck, Kobe's rookie year. No Kobe's in there. There was a Jordan in one of the packs though. So it's like the cool stuff, not just a box of, and what I mean by that, there is a lot of cool junk wax, and there's a lot of cool junk wax in this palette. What I mean by cool junk wax is it's not a shoebox of 91 Fleer, because that's not cool, or a box of 89 Tops, which I think there is one, a box of 90 Donruss. This is like some cool stuff. There are boxes of like top-loaded junk wax era, and it's like Dean Palmer rookies, which not cool, but it's like in its original state from 30 years ago. Like, oh wow, $4 for a Kevin Moss rookie. So cool stuff like that. I found a Genesis ticket stub from like 1992. There was a whole bunch of whoever donated this had ticket stubs out the ass, because there was a whole box of ticket stubs, mostly Wisconsin Badger stuff, some Brewers, a couple Bucks tickets, mostly from like the 2000 teens, like 10 years ago or so. And I guess early 2000s as well, and even some 90s. The box that I found, there were a few ticket stubs from the early 90s. So some good stuff. Where would I rank this Goodwill palette? Probably right smack dab in the middle, but I've only unloaded and gone through like half of it. I really cherry because I didn't have time, because I picked it up just a couple days before we left. So I only grabbed a few boxes, and I've just been grabbing a few boxes here and there over the last couple days just to get it out of my car, because I'm going to have to load up the tables on Friday to take over to the Sheraton. So trying to get the car unloaded and just kind of dipping in to see what all is in this Goodwill palette. So I think I am going to submit the Jeter SP to PSA. The Rivera, I think I'm going to submit the Mariano Rivera also. I've got to look up some stuff, but I've cracked that seal, man, on submitting cards to get graded. Now, I'm not going to be submitting just anything and everything, but Jeter SP, I think that's a no-brainer. Like the Peyton rookie, that was a no-brainer. The Dr. J is a no-brainer. But I'll keep it to stuff like that I end up submitting. So I did not watch any of the All-Star game last night, which has kind of been par for the course for me. I always look forward to it, like, oh, the All-Star game's on tonight. And then when it's on, it's like, I don't really care. I did have it on. I had the pregame show on for a little bit. But I didn't really watch any of the game. Did I have it on? Maybe I did have it on last night when I was going through some of my Goodwill stuff. I might have came. Yes, I briefly, but I wasn't paying any attention. I did come downstairs because I was laying on the couch and it was 7:30 and my eyes were heavy. And I'm falling asleep at 7:30 on the couch. And I got up and I'm like, I have to move around or I'm going to fall asleep at 7 o'clock. So I went outside. I think I filled the bird feeder, took the trash out, came downstairs, went through a couple boxes of the Goodwill pallet, and I'm pretty sure I had the All-Star game on, but I wasn't paying any attention. Now, Home Run Derby, I love. Home Run Derby, I will watch. All-Star game is kind of like, it's just background if I'm there. And now today used to be the worst day in sports. I don't think with all of our streaming options, I don't think there's a worse day. There's just not a worse day on TV. Because back in the day when we were growing up, we didn't have any other options unless you recorded stuff on VHS, which I did. You pop in a tape. But me growing up, I mean, basically every day was the worst sports day ever in my house because I didn't have cable growing up. I had 4, 6, 8, and 18. Those were our local Fox, ABC, CBS, NBC affiliates, and of course PBS to watch Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross. So every day in my household, with the exception of Saturdays and Sundays, Saturday we had the Fox Game of the Week. That was fun. Do they even do the Fox Game of the Week anymore? I don't know. That was fun. But like in the cable generate, like even cable, like there's just nothing on. And you look back 30 years ago, 25 years ago, and we complained, those in cable households complained, we have 50 channels and we can't find anything to watch. That's like a dad. It's not really a joke, but that's a dad saying of the 90s and 80s. 80s and 90s dads. We have 50 channels. I'm not paying this cable bill anymore. We have 50 channels and there's nothing on TV. Now we have 50,000 options and there's still nothing on TV. Back in the day, I craved cable. I craved to have ESPN Classic to watch old games. And now we can watch we have YouTube. We can watch anything we want, just about anything we want. Do we? No. I don't want to watch old games. But back in the 90s, I want to watch the 1982 NCAA tournament final. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Now it's like, I don't care. I'll look at the box score. So it's not really the worst day in sports anymore because we just have so many other options. We can stream anything. We have 50 gajillion streaming options. David, good morning. He says, tonight will be a great time to catch up on House of the Dragon. Is that the Game of Thrones? We watched Game of Thrones, but I really didn't get into it. And I'm very, we know I'm ADD with TV. I just don't watch. I just can't get into TV shows. When I do, I typically watch like the first episode. I'm like, oh, this is an awesome show. And the second episode, this is not as great as the first episode. The third episode, it's okay. Fourth episode, I'm not watching anymore. That's typically how every show that I watch goes. First episode, it's great. Second, it's good. Third, it's okay. Fourth, I'm done. Game of Thrones, though, I did kind of last. I lasted a couple seasons, and my wife was really into it, which is kind of... I did not sleep well again last night. I was kind of tossing and turning. I was up. So yeah, just don't pay attention. Peter, good morning. George in the house. What's happening? Victor's here. Good morning. Todd is here. Good morning. Kyle, good morning to you. Yesterday's Hobby Evolution comedy factor is going to be hard to beat today. We talked about shitting our pants yesterday. A lot of poop. You know, my friend and I that we traveled with, most conversations revolved around pooping. There was a lot of shit talk on our vacation, much to our wives' chagrin. Steve, good morning. Happy worst sports day of the year today and tomorrow. Is tonight the ESPYs? ESPN tried to turn it around and put the ESPYs on the day after the All-Star game. And does anybody watch the ESPYs? I have less interest in the ESPYs than the All-Star game. Zach and Porter are here. Good morning. Johnny Boy Cards in the house. What's up? Philly Joe is here. Good morning. Orlando in the house. Good morning. Raphael is here. What's happening? Zach says, how much money do you make from the shows before taxes on an annual basis? Tens of dollars. Tens of dollars. Zach says, you should sell hockey and soccer cards in the fourth room to make money. There you go. I can recoup my losses by selling my soccer and hockey in the TCG room. There's Sheena. What's up? He'll be set up at the Madison Card Show this Saturday. John says, airplanes and airports have germs. Mr. Archer, good morning. Might be the shit American food. That also could be. It could be withdrawals. It could be, me and my buddy drank beers every day and haven't had a beer since. Good morning, Cooter. You are not a charity. If it doesn't add revenue, you shouldn't do it. And I think the reason why I wanted to the reason I'm taking a loss this month on the fourth room is because of the signage. I think the show was already in need of more signage anyway, with 3 rooms as it is. So that was there's some cost and I still have to print posters. Posters are like $30 a pop. So I'm going to be printing like 4 of those. So that's another 100 and some bucks, 120. So it's going to be a loss. But moving forward, that signage will is a one-time cost and can be used for multiple things. But we'll see. Going forward, is it going to be worth the hassle? I don't know. But I also said that about the third room, and now the third room is booming, and I have dealers want to be in the third room. Like, hey, can you put me in the third room? So that's where we're at. John says, I'm not sure what Cooter is referring to, but gathering write-offs is just as important as gathering net income sometimes. There's some truth to that too. You both make valid points. George says, I work with coughing, sneezing, never washing their hands kids on a daily basis. I know germs. I just push through. That's worse than airports. Schools. I built up a good tolerance. When I worked in radio, I was in schools almost every day broadcasting games. And I think I just built up a good tolerance in those days. Like I rarely got sick when I was in school every day because I think you build up that immunity. And then when you're not used to that, you're not used to those germs. I don't have kids. So maybe I should fly more often and get those airport germs. Bo in the bubble. I am in my basement bubble where there's no kids, there's no airport germs. I go out into public and get sick. Zach says, Cooter is back in corporate America. His mood just flipped to a profit and loss mindset, slashing budgets and buying TCMA cards on the weekend for cheap. John says, speaking, how is your cycle? Has it been regular? My poop cycle has been off. It certainly has been off. Not as much as my sleep cycle, though. My sleep cycle is more off than my poop cycle. Billy Joe says, oh man, more poop talk. If Cooter is anything like my company's CEO, then he better call Pinkerton. John says, Staples has possibly the greatest inventory of stuff to look at. I agree, but it is an absolutely miserable in-store experience. I also agree, and the price tags suck. I feel like I'm getting the life sucked out of me in a Staples for some reason. That's a good point because and I don't know what your thoughts are regarding the miserable in-store experience, but here's my thoughts on that. It has awesome stuff. Now, everything's overpriced. It's like twice as much as what you can find online. I get it because they have these giant stores with giant rent costs. They have to charge. So, but as far as the in-store experience goes, aside from the prices, it's in this cavernous like warehouse. There's like 7 employees, and you're the only customer in there. It's crazy. You walk into a Staples, and there's one other person shopping, and there's 7 or 8 employees, and it's like I don't know. That's my thoughts. I'm curious what makes it miserable for you. For me, it's just like this cavernous building with nobody in it. George says, serious question. Oh boy. Have you signed up for the Amazon affiliate program so you can post links and get kickback? So I have, but I never use it, which shame on me. George says, I probably should get yourself an extra $1 or $2. I should be signing up for a lot of affiliates. I know I've got some people, and there's some people in the hobby that make a ton of money on affiliate links. That is a good point because I love I've turned into an Amazon lover. I was an early adopter to Amazon when it was only books. I couldn't read a book to save my life in high school, but once I left high school and I read sports books for fun, and I was buying books. Ball 4 by Jim Bouton. Bought it from Amazon in like 2000. What else? I bought a Jay Johnstone book. I bought Jim McMahon's autobiography. All from Amazon. Back in the day, 99, 2000. And then all of a sudden Amazon becomes Amazon. And my wife's like, Amazon every day. There's an Amazon box on the porch. And I'm just like, I don't like Amazon. But then when I started selling, even before I started my business, I was buying supplies. It's like, I should just buy these on Amazon to get them cheaper. And so I started doing that. And I'm like, I should start getting Amazon Prime so I can get 2-day delivery and free shipping and all that. So I did that. And then I get Amazon Prime. Like, and then, wow, I can get everything on Amazon. And now I'm just like, oh, when my mom and her friend Sue were up here, before we left, they stayed at our house the first week and was talking about fishing poles. And Sue goes, well, you should get a bamboo pole. And I'm like, do they sell those at Walmart? I'm like, but I bet they sell them on Amazon. Boom, sitting right there. Click, order. It's on my porch in 2 days. I love Amazon. Yes, I should be using my Amazon affiliate links. John says, I've unsubscribed from some Twitter affiliate pushers. It's like asking for a tip when they post the links. Bargain Boxer says, I told you that you would hit 200 tables at Madison. I said that a year ago. You said you would turn dealers away, and I have been. I said, no shot. Here we are. And I'm still turning dealers away. I'm at 200 tables and still turning dealers away. No, I'm not going to go to 250 tables. I don't think there's enough. Actually, there probably is enough room if I utilize every conference room they have. I don't want to do that. I don't even know if we'll do 200 again. But Bargain Boxer was right. We did hit 200 tables. Zach says, Bo wouldn't be selling FT if not for the Barry Larkin rookies. What's FT mean? Selling FT. That shit sold like crazy during the boom. We are the money demo now. Oh, yeah, the Barry Larkin rookies. George says, was more referring to posting the links in the description on YouTube and not really talking about pushing ad after ad on Twitter and such. There you go. John says, in order to be a successful submitter, in my mind, you need to submit constantly. You need a steady flow of submissions to distract from the lengthy turnaround. Yeah, for me, I'm not going to be a constant submitter because it's not my wheelhouse. When I come across cards, and it's also not my wheelhouse because I'm not really swimming in the pool where there's, I'm swimming in these pools where it's just a bunch of common 70s cards. But when there's a Peyton rookie, a Dr. J rookie, those are the cards that I will submit. Or a Jeter SP, Mariano Rivera Bowman. So It's just with what I buy, I don't think now, again, things change. Just like Randy said last year, I'm going to be at 200 tables. I said, no, I'm not. I'm not going to be at 200 tables. Guess what? This Saturday, we're at 200 tables. Will I ever be a constant submitter to PSA? Probably not, but there's a chance. There's always a chance. So that's not in the cards right now, but of course, things change. John says, I've had 8 cards in research and ID for 6 weeks at PSA. Did you submit at the lowest? So I submitted my Peyton and Dr. J and Nolan Ryan and George Brett. I submitted those at the second highest or second lowest level. So they were at like the 6 week turnaround. I think 40 days, whatever it was. So I'll have to ask my group subber on Saturday. 5-Star Cards, one of our sponsors to the Madison Card Show. 5-Star Cards, the Lion's Den, which is not the Lion's Den you see on the side of the interstates, and Ferry Brothers Breaks, who will not be set up this weekend, but they'll be back in August. Tony says, All-Star Game was background noise for me last night. Was packing cards and on the phone with my dad. He had hip replacement surgery Monday. Well, best wishes in recovery to your dad. Zach says, John, that is horse pie. You were an influencer. John says, I remember having a hissy fit when we were camping across country in 1980. I demanded we get a hotel the night of the All-Star Game. It was a big deal. Yeah, I mean, things change. It's crazy. Like now it's like you're going cross country. It's like, I mean, first off, you could just pop into a sports bar. Like there weren't sports bars really with TVs. Like you go to a bar in 1980, there's probably a tiny 13-inch black and white TV, and that's it. You know, it wasn't there. There was no such thing as a sports bar with TVs everywhere. I don't really remember, but I was not, but I guess the All-Star Game would have been, we always took and we were also, and I think I fell into the trap of my parents' generation of cross-country camping. My dad never took vacation when he was growing up, but my mom did. They would go to Michigan, I think, and whatever beaches there were in Michigan and along Lake Michigan. And so they'd jump in the station wagon and they'd drive to Michigan and do that. So that's so our vacations were basically just Midwest driving, staying at like the Triangle Motel, which is like a, shitty motel in bumfuck Illinois. And those were our vacations. But I don't remember but I also didn't have cable to miss TV really in the summer. We always took our vacations the last week of July. So it was post All-Star. In fact, by the time I was growing up and going on vacations, and we never camped. We camped at like the Triangle Motel. But they had TV, and they usually had cable TV in color. So it was actually even in the no-tell motels, the TV was better than what I got at home. George says, Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross were freaking awesome. Love those dudes. John says, Pink Floyd, 13 channels of shit on the TV to choose from, 1979. 2 years ago, I fractured bone near my pinky toe, stubbing my foot on a box. Think I just did the same a couple days ago because now I'm feeling the same pain as before. Uh-oh. Can they do anything for a pinky toe? I just figure you just let it go. Just write it out. The pain will go away. Let's see. Dan wants to know what U.S. cards are taking that long to ID. 1969 70 Topps Rulers. You kind of need to grade them. Dan is currently watching an old game. 2005 ALCS Game 3, White Sox. John taped a show 2 days ago and yawned throughout. I blame my dog. ESPYs were last week for some reason. Interesting. Kids are a leftist plot to divert us from happiness and health. They've now penetrated the disposable income set like Bo. Dan says, I will be sending some Lee Sung-yup cards. Did I pronounce that correctly? Lee Sung-yup? To my friend to sub for the PS8 Master Set Registry. Dan says, every time I walked into a Best Buy, it had the same feeling as your Staples description. Today's Best Buy, yes. The Best Buy I grew up with 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, oh, it was magical. Magical place. Now it is. It's a shell of its former self. I went into Best Buy to get a security camera. And they don't have CDs anymore, DVDs. But I guess who uses? I haven't played a CD in years. So I guess there's a reason they don't sell them anymore. But it's just, it's sad what our big box retailers have turned into. Cody's in the house. Good morning. You need a sign on John Nolan Drive. That's actually a good point. I don't know where I would put a sign on John Nolan Drive. Stuke says, good morning. Savers in my go-to bookstore. Got a Mickey Mantle autographed book for $3.95 and many other signed books. Very nice. Let's see. Stuke says, books are the first thing I look at in a thrift store. I do look at books, but I look at books for reading. Like, oh, I don't want to spend $20 for this book at Barnes & Noble, but they have it at Goodwill. Brian says, PSA taking forever, grading vintage. Oh, no. Sent off orders together. Modern done in a month. Vintage taking 3+ months. What the fuck? Well, that's not good. I was hoping to have my vintage back by the middle or end of August. Orlando says SGC graded my vintage in a week. I ended up sending a modern card to SGC, the Justin Verlander blue chrome refractor second year card. My group subber said he advised me not to send it to PSA. Said you might get a higher grade with SGC. So off to SGC. Stuke says September 2023 is my oldest vintage order out to PSA. Holy shit. George says, saw that CSG has their auto authentication up and running. May send my San Diego chicken egg card to get authenticated for the heck of it. Cool card and cool story memory. That is a cool. That's a great auto. Great auto and card to be autoed on. Kyle says, I have submitted with SGC, PSA, and BGS. It's always the same result emotionally with a mix of excitement, elation, letdown, anger, and confusion. Yes. Dan says, correct. Can't do much for fractures. Have to wrap it so it stays in place. Not sure how a 3-hour flight would affect it. I don't envy that. Mikey's in the house. Good morning. Why is it the worst sports day of the year? Well, I don't think it's not really, and Mikey's a lot younger than most of us, but back in our day, it was known as the worst sports day of the year because it was the day after the All-Star game. And the day after the All-Star game, there was no sports. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. I think now we can turn on, there's like NBA Summer League, but but there's no hockey, there's no baseball, there's no basketball, there's no football. Training camps, I don't think start till next week. So it was like a sports desert. This week is a sports desert. That may have changed. Back, when I was growing up, that's all I wanted was sports. And I couldn't have it this week. So that's why it was always known as the worst sports day of the year. The day after the All-Star game, worst sports day of the year. I don't know if it's really like a common sentiment these days because we have so many other distractions. We have 50 gajillion streaming platforms. We have content coming out of our ears. We have YouTube to distract us. We have everything else. So I don't think it's really considered like the worst sports day of the year. I just don't think it's It probably still is, but it's just not as, we have so many other distractions that we don't care. So that's why it was always known as the worst sports day of the year. Brian's in the house. Good morning. He sold 36 cards from Topps Bunt for $10. Can't believe people buy those. Dan says, how's your first semester going for George? Our last day is Friday. So what's your school calendar like? I'm always curious, even in like the States, like there's different, like my school calendar, we always started school, even though half of our school didn't have air, the high school didn't have air conditioning. The first week we would have like early dismissal because it's too hot. It's like, why don't you just not start school until after Labor Day? And then there's other districts that did. Like we start the Tuesday after Labor Day. It's not as fucking hot. Duh. But not in my school. So we always started like the second Wednesday of August. So sometimes it was early as like August 12th or whatever the earliest second Wednesday could be. I don't think it would be August 8th. I don't think we ever went that early, but it was always like the middle of the month, like August 15th on average. And then we would typically get back or get out on like May 15th, which was early, but we, like some of my friends like Kiwani, they would go into like June. So I'd have friends that were still going to school for 2 weeks. When we were in Switzerland, their last day of school was last Friday. So whatever that was, July 10th, no, July 11th, 12th, whatever Friday was. And they get like a month break and they go back like the end of August. So they have like a very short summer over there. Always curious, school calendars. I don't know why. George doesn't have semesters in reality, just a full year of nonstop work. Sounds fun. Not. Paul's in the house. Good morning. Good to see you back. Looks like you had an awesome trip. It was a blast. I'm still recovering from jet lag and all that. George says, I have 3 whole days of vacation between the end of my summer teaching and the start of the second semester. Live it up. Live it up those 3 whole days. Dan says, March, February, summer break, July, August. But Jan, Feb, pretty much out of session. Dan wants to know if George is still at 5 schools. George is at 4 schools. Brian says, now that you're back from vacation, when do you want to meet up? Maybe next week. So we'll see what's my schedule like. Yeah, next week is going to be. This week I haven't even had time to breathe, which is maybe why I feel run down and fatigued. Getting caught up on shipping. Trying to get this Goodwill pallet still unloaded and getting ready for this week's card show. So yeah, maybe toward the end of next week, because I don't have it would like my wife. We were talking one night over dinner, and my wife's like, I'm surprised you're not going to the National. And I'm like, I can't do it. Like I could, but I don't want to do it. It's to me this year, it's not worth the expense being gone, 2 weeks, getting caught up, the card show. And then I would have to turn around almost immediately next week. Like I don't want to put myself through that. And it's just now the juice ain't worth the squeeze. And I've had so much inventory coming in, buying, that I'm at a good place inventory wise. I don't need, and plus the Nationals coming to me Sunday or Monday, the singles club's dropping off 50 to 60,000 cards that would have been in their dollar boxes. They didn't get enough time to sleeve them. So we agreed on a deal. So I'm picking those up on their way through to Cleveland. So that's basically what I would buy at the National. So that's like, now I look back and it's like every day as it comes closer and closer, I'm like, thank God I am not going to Cleveland. It would not have been good. So I don't have anything next week. So yeah, maybe toward the end of next week, I'll be able to breathe. I even wanted to, now the first couple days I got back, it stormed. I got my bamboo fishing pole. I still haven't I bought some bait. but I haven't had a chance to go out and I need to weed down by the pond. So I haven't had a chance to do any of that. So looking forward to maybe Sunday or early next week to going down there and getting some work done out in the yard. John says Europe has larger breaks throughout the year. And I think that's what they said. They have short breaks, but multiple breaks. Like only a month in the summer, but they also get like a month in the spring and a month in the winter. How many orders did you have to ship when you got back? It was pretty reasonable. I think it was 385 over 13 days, which is about 30 a day. And the only thing I did was put this seller is out of office until July 15th or whatever. And that really suppresses the sales. So it made it manageable when I got back. So I think I'm caught up I think I'm into Sunday. I think I'm shipping out Sunday stuff today. So I got through everything on Sunday and Monday and yesterday. So I think it was like 385 for the time I was gone. And then obviously my sales volume picked up once that out of office, went down. But yeah, I think, if I could have handled up to like 500 orders. But not ideal. Like I think almost 400 was a pretty good number, decent sales numbers, dollars coming in to where it wasn't zero, but not enough to like make me pull my hair out and be crazier ass busy than what I was with what I had to ship. John says George needs to hire Dan's agent. Philly Joe says a lot of teachers use the summer for their side hustle. Yeah, I had a buddy of mine. I don't know if he's doing it this year, but he would actually work for the school in the summer, just kind of like doing stuff around the schools, painting and fixing things and shit like that. Dan says I've told him that. Brian says I only need $25 more and I have fully funded spring training 2025. Thanks to everyone on here for all of the eBay and card advice. Hell yeah. I need to look into my spring training 2025 trip. I'm still the hotel prices are really high, even for March, higher than what they have been the last couple of years. So we'll see if those go up or go down. Sometimes that's worked in my favor and sometimes it's bit me in the ass. It's a gamble. George says, I hate that I can't type a fucking comment with a bad word in the chat anymore. Stupid ass shit. You can't? You can't drop the F-bomb in the chat? John says, I think Joe means OnlyFans. OnlyFans. Oh, for the side hustle. Oh, yeah, the teacher side hustle. The teacher side hustle. All righty. So I think that's all I had for today. See, Brian said, fuck. Red lights in the house. You just made it to the end. Hit up my eBay store, 99centcards.com. By the way, make sure to follow my eBay store so you get notifications on when new inventory comes in, because I don't comp most of the time. And I was adding some 70s cards, and I sold a couple of Ray Guy rookie cards. We talked about this yesterday, and I should have. I don't know if they were already listed. I think they were already listed. I think I listed these before I went live yesterday, but we were talking about special teams, and Zach had bought the Mark Mosley rookie. I listed 2 Ray Guy cards from 1974 Topps. One sold right away, $2. List all of the stuff for $2 each. And it sold right away. I'm like, huh. And John says Ray Guy rookie is the worst rookie ever. And then all of a sudden I sold another one. I'm like, I'm going to look this up. And they're like $10. So somebody got a good deal on some Ray Guy rookies. Now, the flip side, don't get greedy and send me an offer, because I have offers open. Was it Doug? I think it was Doug Collins. I have the Doug Collins, also 1974. Doug Collins rookie card was, I think I listed it for $250. Somebody sent me an offer for $2. And it was like right away. And I'm like, I don't know basketball rookies, and I'm glad I comped some of the stuff like George Gervin. I didn't realize his rookie was $75 because that would have been like a $2 card that I would have listed. So I went back and looked and I'm like, oh shit, Doug Collins rookie, $10 to $15. So I declined the $2 offer and adjusted the price to $10. And it just sold last night for $8. Somebody sent me an $8 offer. I'm like, hey, better than $250. So take advantage. Also, 1974 Topps baseball. I made them. I did catch a couple of them. The Washington San Diego, and for some reason I saw the Glenn Beckert card that had, I think, Washington. Is that the uncommon one? And I'm like, And then by the time I found, I think Dave Hilton and another one, I had listed for $5. But I missed Randy Jones, I missed Glenn Beckert, and I missed another one. And those were priced at $2, and somebody came in and bought all of them, including the $5 ones. So sometimes I miss, and my mispricing is to your advantage. So make sure to follow my store on eBay, 99centcards.com. I did add over 500. I did add over 500 70s cards from 74 Topps baseball, 74 Topps basketball, and 74 Topps football. So like I added over 500 cards yesterday. So check those out, 99centcards.com. Buy 7 or more at regular price, you'll save an additional 25% off at checkout. John says, so Bo's store, buy modern first to market at inflated prices or vintage cards at a steal. That's my philosophy. Hey, if you can do it, do it. Buy modern, rip and flip, first to market, make money. Find an estate sale with a crazy ass steal, make money. I may want to research the older stuff. Yes. I thought, and this is just part of me being stubborn, where it's like, oh, I know cards. And I don't. And I didn't realize, like when I was buying some of these cards, when I was setting them aside the first day of this estate sale. And the funny thing is, it's like just try to find one of the baseball. Like a 75 Topps Carl Yastrzemski. I'm like, ooh, for $1, I've got to have it. No, is it a good deal for $1? Yes. But I'm passing up a Bill Walton rookie card and thinking the Carl Yastrzemski is a much better deal. It's not. Or George Gervin or Moses Malone, or what was the other? There was some big rookies, some other big rookies that it's like, oh shit, these are nice cards. John says, do you think it's the downfall of using CDP? Not at all. No. In fact, it more than makes up now. And I understand why the question is asked, because I'm just listing, boom, boom, boom. But even if I sell a $5 card for $2 or $10 card for $2, it moves right away. And these cards were purchased at 8 cents a card, 6 cents a card. So does it suck that I may have lost a few bucks on a card here or there? Yeah, but I made a quick sale. And I didn't lose money, and I think that's important for sellers to realize. It's what you have into the card, not what it's comping for. Now, obviously, in business, you want to maximize your profits, and you don't want to give away too many $10, $20 cards for $2. But at the end of the day, we also can't comp every single card. Card Dealer Pro, without Card Dealer Pro, I wouldn't be doing this full time. 100%. If it wasn't for listing fast with the Rico scanner and Card Dealer Pro, I would be sitting in an office right now and, I'd still be selling cards as a side hustle, but I wouldn't be doing this full time without Card Dealer Pro. I listed 500 cards in less than an hour of total time. Did a couple of them get mispriced? Yep. But was it a terrible? No. Not at all. I lost a few bucks. and I didn't lose a few bucks. I made some sales, and I made profit. John says, I list via sold, which does my research for me. CDP bypasses all of that, but I'm volume listing as well. Like if I wanted to list all 500, like I couldn't list all 500 of these cards doing what you do. And I don't like selling lots because I would be making a fraction selling lots of what I can make selling these as singles. So, but your method works for you. My method works for me, and I can scale faster, which is what I want to do. I'm doing this full time, so time is money. Will CDP ever integrate solds into their software? I'm pretty sure they do. Let me see. Let's go. I'm in a batch right now. So we are in 74 Tops baseball. Let's do we don't want to remove me. So this is CDP, and I'm in a batch of, I think this is the 72 or 74 Tops baseball. Is this TUV? I don't think this is the one with the, so this one has checklists. So my checklist sold fast as well, which I probably underpriced the checklist. When I was listing these, I'm like, you know what? $250. I don't care if they're worth $5. I'm going to list them for $250. So let's see. Let's go into is it inspector view? Where's the checklist? Here we are. Okay. So here's pricing research. So it doesn't pop up right away. So this is on the inspector view, which is what I use. I don't know how accurate it is. So, these, like, here's one that sold for $1.20. Here's one that sold for $2.25. Here's one that sold for $10. Here's one that sold for $8. Average price $536. But do I want to list this checklist for $536? I don't know. I'm going to look it up on my phone. So this is card 637, 1974 Tops. Because I don't know how accurate these are. Oh, this is my listing, $250. So here's $1.75. So those are just listings. So let's go to solds on this card. $250, which I think that was my sale. $550 plus shipping. There's one for $2. There's one for $5. That one sold for $22 for some reason. There's a $5, $5, $5, $2, $250, $4. So they're all across. So $250, I think, is a very fair price. So, but again, you have to weed through the comps on eBay solds, and you don't really have that option. It takes too long. I'm not going to comp to save to make $1 more. Is it worth my time to spend a minute comping to make an additional $1? I don't think so. When it may sell at, a best offer anyway. Brian says, thanks for killing comps with your stupid quick sales. You're welcome. No, I don't use that for reference. So when I do comp, now, if I have so here's a stack of, I think these, okay, 1976 Tops Terry Bradshaw. I'm going to comp that. And it's probably $250. Ahmad Rashad, I think this is his rookie card. I'm going to miscut. I'm going to comp that. The O.J. Simpson stuff, I comp. Johnny Unitas, Larry Zonka. I'll comp that, and I'll do eBay solds. So those I will. What I'll do is I still use Card Dealer Pro. So I'll list them through Card Dealer Pro, and as I'm listing, and I still do every once in a while, I'll look to see, should I comp this card? I don't comp every card, but I comp 2%, I don't know, 5% of what I list. Because usually I don't need to. Usually just intuition, you just know. You do this enough, you know. Are there mistakes? Yeah. My 74 tops Washington variations. Oops. Could have made a few bucks more on it. Oh well. So when I am going through on Car Dealer Pro, it's like, okay, Terry Bradshaw, I need a comp. I'll just bring out my phone instead of using it because I know what the eBay solds are. I don't trust platforms. I just don't trust the comping platforms outside of eBay, the eBay solds. John says, oh my, you don't have to maximize, but please don't minimize. Not sure if Brian is kidding, but it really does set a lower standard. And I don't care. Like I have 8 cents into a card. If I sell it for $2.50, but it's really $5, I don't care. I made money. Get your bag. Time is money. Am I going to sit here and comp every single 1974 Topps baseball card? No. I wouldn't make any money. I'd be back in the office. Brian says, kidding, but for real. I listen to vintage all day. Takes me forever to comp the grade. Then I do what I want to go at comps when those are mostly auctions. Then comp buy it now prices and go somewhere. John says, yes, Orlando, and I don't sell full time, but you really should know a market before diving in. I mean, my markets, these are commons. Like for the most part, these are commons. Like I'm not diving into a new market selling 74 Topps commons. If you're a yogurt shop and suddenly want to sell filet, you don't sell it for yogurt prices. But it's working. My philosophies are working. So I'm going to stick to them. And you do you. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. 99centcards.com. That's the eBay store. If you want steals, take advantage of me selling steak at yogurt prices. Go to eBay, 99centcards.com. Buy you some steak for a yogurt price. 74 Topps baseball, basketball, football added yesterday. Several thousand more to come. Check it out, 99centcards.com. Save even more when you buy 7 or more at regular price. 25% off. 99centcards.com. Mikey says, if you go through the CDP page, it will say rookie in attributes. Yes, it does. Usually, not all the time, but usually it does. Let's see. Paul says, I think it's worth the time to comp a full set once as training so you can remember the sleepers. That is good advice. John says, you do us. Max says he already is. Going to the Beau Buffet, get that steak at yogurt prices, 99centcards.com. Yogurt is expensive in Korea, says George. John says, bamboo pole resting against the treadmill yet. Not yet. Right now, it's next to the e-bike. All right. Like, subscribe. Go to my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Steak at yogurt prices. This Saturday, Madison Card Show, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. 4 rooms, 3 ballrooms, 200 dealer tables, free admission, show hours 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. this Saturday. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Hope to see you there. If not, I'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. Have a wonderful Wednesday.